Hi all, welcome to another chess24 Banter Blitz. I just want to show you the discount code screen. If you want to consider becoming a premium member, you get 15% off with this voucher code, Kings plural Crusher. And you can play against me and other streamers, and there's loads of other stuff, privileges and perks you get hold of as a premium member. So anyway, let's go now to the challenges page, and I'll take off my challenges. And the first challenge is Cat Weasel this morning. Okay, so Cat Weasel, and let's play B3. It's becoming my pet system at the moment. Alright, dodge the fence. Hang on, is the preview working? I'm hoping the preview's working. Is Cat Weasel? Oh, sorry, just making sure. Okay. Okay, so what's happening here? Can I play for E4? What I like about this system is this bishop is often quite a often a useful attacking bishop. Sometimes E4. There's knight E5. Oh, no, knight E5 isn't the best move in the world to start the session because having queen takes G2, mate. He's also got a dangerous bishop over there. So I think some safety precaution here is good. Not to be tempted by knight E5. That is funny, isn't it? Knight E5 would have been quite an amusing start. Yes, let's protect G2 first. And can I still play for E4? It's interesting. It's almost a little bit of a trappy move, actually, because what is the queen actually doing on G6 here? Is it well placed on G6? Because actually E4 looks to be more effective here than it might have been otherwise. I'm going to try E4 now. I hope I'm exposing E6 more than my F4, but I have realised that F4 is a liability here. But so is E6, so we've created, mutually kind of created liabilities. But my one might be worse here, unfortunately. I'm going to lose F4. B4, he can move the knight on to knight A4. How about D4? There's knight E4. On knight E4, there might be G3. It looks a bit precarious to play knight E4, but I need to calculate that. G3, there's rook G4. Could he actually get away with that? If I play B4, there's knight A4. I'll try. I think I'll try this. Knight E4 if he wants to shield E6. G3, rook G4. Am I in trouble here? It's possible that he's just won that important pawn. Fairly important pawn. The other consideration, perhaps... Okay, I can lose the bishop. CD and then rook E6. I think that might be okay as decisions go. I hope it's okay. He ends up with an isolated D6 pawn, but that dark square bishop might be dangerous. I get my pawn back. I can double rooks here, or rook on the 7th. Rook on the 7th, D5 is not that amazing, is it? Maybe C4, just trying to fix on this bishop C5 check. Even so, I'll let him, I want to fix that pawn. I believe. So bishop c5 check. Alright, what do we have here? It's an intriguing position. Well, what I mean by that, I'm not yet dead, I think. Okay, I've got some play here. So h3, king h2. What is rook f5 about? Is it about d5? Rook e7, d5. Okay, I think I want to have a square for my king. I think. I don't want to get too far back on the clock. Okay, he's dissolving his pawn. That's fair enough. If I get rid of a pair of rooks, am I worse in this ending? I'm not sure there's nothing that I'm not sure there's anything rather to celebrate here particularly. So I need a few plans. Knight g5 plan could get me in trouble. Let me just do this actually, okay, for a moment, because I'm thinking I need h3 for the king, so I'm thinking bishop d6 is going to be dangerous. What if I put the king actively on h3 to start off with, just to get the full impact of this? I don't know if this is like really dumb. Some sort of mating that with rook f3. Okay, if I got rid of a pair of rooks, I just want to stabilize my king. Alright, getting rid of one pair of rooks here, because somehow I'm hoping this is an idea, which is good. I'm not really convinced yet. 95 to g6 springs to mind from the springer of the chessboard. The knight. 95 to d7 or to g6. Knight d7 or knight g6. Okay, I think I've started to get him thinking that can I fix with knight g6 to create some mating net material, like potentially. Oh, I think I've blundered. Okay, I've just blundered a pawn, an important pawn. Oh boy, I've blundered an important pawn. That was silly. Oh god. Can I get back a pawn with knight takes here? There's rook b5, rook b8, and knight d7 to get out of this pin. Knight c6 to hit that a pawn. Now I can't create a passed pawn there because of bishop b4, right? If I get over here, or get my king a bit aggressive, he's going to create a passed pawn. Hang on. It's going to be pre-move time as well. He's got the potential for creating a passed pawn. I need to think what to do about this passed pawn over here. Hold on a sec. Do I try and get a pawn over there? He's got a lingering a lingering winning passed pawn there in the form of the H pawn, and it's pre-move time as well, I would say. Oh, that's one less worry. Oh, well played. What a tough game. What a tough game. Throughout, I didn't get anything out of the opening. Oh, what a tough time. Tough time. Well played. Okay, on it's just the only thing is when you get short of time on Blitz, my personal tip is you got to think. You've got to try and increase the number of pre-moves you make. Basically, that's the tip from that game, which is only a practical tip with time management. It's not really. That was a really well played. Okay, game. So I try and get into what I call pre-move mode when I've only got like less than 15, 20 seconds left. I can see that happening. That I have to increase my pre-moves. So if you play any bullet chess and stuff, I don't want to get in too much trouble here in the opening. It looks as though d4 is. I have to prepare for d4. Onam's given me a lot of trouble recently. A lot of trouble. It's had winning positions. I have to make sure I'm not getting smashed with d4. d4. Okay. This is going to be interesting. So this e3 square looks pretty bad. As e3 squares go. Can I challenge that knight? Or is it just going to torture me? Okay. Knight e3, bishop g2. Okay. So bishop g2 and queen f2. Or king f2. Knight d4, queen d4, there's knight c2. Also, I mean, of course, there's knight takes g2 check, though. I can't think of doing that at the moment. Maybe in the future. This can be shown to be some sort of tactical liability in the future, but here it's sitting well, it seems. Can I do this? Knight g4, king g1. Doesn't look very pleasant though. If I played h3, does that really help the position? I think the knight was okay on e3. The knight was okay on e3. It can go back to e3. I can really re-examine knight d4 if it goes back. Because there's no knight takes g2 check. Knight d4, queen d4, there's knight c2 though. So that, again, this is not working, this knight d4 tactic, it seems. Do I want to invite the knight back? I don't think there's much choice. I can play a3 to stop knight b4. That's another horrible possibility. Also, my c2 pawn is horrible. I don't know what I'm doing here, really. If he goes back to e3... b4... I guess... No, I've created another liability with a5 now. I've just created another liability. Okay, I have to defend against a5, but he's also got... Well, he's got numerous... Okay, he's got numerous a5. Now, is also possible. Can I take away f5? Or is that weakening? Like g5? h4 here. He's just winning a piece potentially with taking then f5. Okay. Looks as though I haven't got much of a game here at the moment. So activating the rook. Is that worth it? Rook h4 maybe? Alright, if I take in the knight g5 or queen f2 while he's using the g4 square up, like that sort of unpinning move, knight g5 now. Okay, it's on c2 as well. Okay, can I challenge this guy? I'm going to drop c2. Knight c5 might be possible. Hold on a sec. Oh, there's rook c5. Okay, it might be possible if I played this first. So he's on my rook. I don't know if knight c5 is that a move for bishop e4, just trying to unravel and block c2 for a moment. He could sack the exchange. It looks as though he's going to do that. I didn't see anything concrete about that particularly. Well, there's knight e6 anyway here, isn't there? Hitting the queen and rook. Right, so he hits my rook, right. Okay, can I do this? Can I take this bishop out? Because then I'm weakening e3, maybe rook e3. Alright, so he's sort of checkmated my queen. There's bishop d5 check. Well, knight takes f5. Let's just do knight f5. Knight e3. Knight d4. Maybe knight d4. There is bishop d5. I think these bishops are useful. Bishop d5 could try and win the rook. Okay, you can take everything off. Unfortunately, he's got rook g2. Otherwise, if I had bishop d5 or rook e3, okay, there's bishop d5 here. He's got knight d5. Okay, there's knight b5 as well. Or knight e2. I don't know. I'll try that. Yeah, I'm dead. Okay. There's knight b3, I guess, for a moment. Yeah, I was outplayed totally. Okay, I don't know. That was really positionally strong. I was just outplayed totally for my weaknesses. That was really well played. Okay, shelling forward. Okay, shelling forward. Okay, might not be playing best form today, but anyway. Okay, let's see. From's Gambit. Or D5. And this sort of Morphy Gambit. I like my position at the opening much better than the previous game. Okay, so I believe anyway. I might be wrong, but there's things like Queen B6 which seem to be quite entertaining. And Bishop G4 and Castle's Queenside. This all seems to be very entertaining to me. Bishop G4 and Castle Queenside, because I've got the initiative here. I haven't got too many weaknesses like the previous game. I've got piece developments. His king's in the centre. The diagonal's compromised. I can rapidly connect my rooks, probably even faster than white here. So he's given me a. I think I would say this is like a handicap opening to play. Okay, he's giving me even Bishop F2 check. I'll take advantage of and put this bishop back. In fact, I don't know, there might be okay, I mean I want Bishop G4 Castle's Queenside and Knight D4. Losing the dark square bishop. Okay, it's a compromise. Hitting B2 and F4. C3 Queen B2. I might be tempted on that. Right, so here I just want to do this for castling queenside. I probably don't want to take that because that's that B file for my king safety. I'm looking forward to F6 if I can rip open the E file. So castling in F6. Maybe F6 now. Because this F file could be good. If I can castle kingside, okay. Knight F6 and castle kingside. I want to have F file. Knight F6 and castle kingside. Right, he's hitting my bishop there. Now he could stop me castling kingside, I guess. Queen C4, bishop E6. Okay, there's an immediate threat on this bishop. I think I'll move this away. So I want to castle, and then Queen C5 here, there's D4. Let's just castle for a moment. Put my king away. Over here. Let's check bishop E3, I guess. D4 might be... Okay, so Queen A5 here maybe, or Queen E7. I mean, Queen... Oh, I don't want to be in a pin over here. This pin's kind of pawn. If I play rook e8 and e4, e4 here, knight e5. E4 here might be useful. Knight g5, h6. Okay, let's see. b4 is also possible if he wants knight e5 without the queen hitting e5. Okay, I can protect e4 here a bit more. There's knight c4 to d6. Let's just go here in advance then. And here. Now I think this is an okayish position if I'm not getting killed with knight d6. Knight e5 is also a concern. Queen d5 here? Or knight d5? Maybe knight d5. This f file is interesting for a moment to think about. e3 or knight f4. e3 looks interesting. Although I feel I'm being tactically sucked in to do that. Queen f5. There's no bishop d3 right now. Queen f2 is dangerous. Takes and win the rook. There's no pin exploitation at the moment on h6. There's queen f2, I think. Needs to be factored in. Right, so e3, e2, bishop e2, rook e2, rook e2. If I only had a bit more firepower available for that. Rook e4. Hang on a sec. Rook e4 for queen f2. So queen moves somewhere. Queen f2 takes. Win the rook on e1. Yeah, I think queen f2. Has he really quashed that plan, or is that e2 here? Rook e2. Has he really destroyed that plan? I think he might have done. Unfortunately, it was a good plan. Okay, am I losing the exchange? Oh, okay. Knight c2. I'm getting in trouble now. Okay, if only that rook e4 I thought was killing. I thought it was dead. I thought it was totally dead for a moment there after rook e4 for queen f2. Oh well, I think it was better for white after that. Let's have a quick look at that. Let's have a quick look. Bishop d3 is big advantage. It's 1.4 to white. See, the idea here, I thought this, and then I've got queen f2. In fact, this is only equal, though. He doesn't have to take. Play king h1. Alright, so if he took here, this is really quite cool. This is what I was hoping for. Alright, but it's not going to happen. Bishop d3. unfortunately exists. I just wanted to get the battery extinguished on f2. So queen c2 went slightly better there. On queen c2 it seems, in any case. Yeah, maybe the whole thing is a bit of a tactical punt. Moving this pawn, it's going to be a liability at some point. All played. Okay. That was a brilliant fight, bishop d3. It was the refutation move. Invite comes was the refutation move. Otherwise, crushing my optimistic assumptions. Oh, shame. Anyway, okay. I think sometimes, if it is totally winning one way, I think you've got to look at other resources, because you can't assume that's going to happen then. If it's actually winning, then you can't really assume it. I think you have to look for problems then. Otherwise, it is kind of the end of the game. You're basically marking your move as the end of the game. But if it's so, basically, it's worth checking out: is it really the end of the game? If it's not, it could be the end of the game for you. Then maybe it depends on the position. But all right. So knight h7 is a threat here. I've had this a few times recently. Okay, that's extinguished. What about e5? Oh, this is dangerous, I think, because the bishop h7 and or knight h7 or bishop h7, I believe. Queen h4. Okay, there is g4. Hell, this is maybe there's g4. I hope there's g4 here. Otherwise, my bishop is a problem. Okay. I need more pieces, really, to do something here. So I'll try and develop these bits. Maybe knight. Maybe knight here immediately. Just to connect the rooks immediately. Just to switch a rook in immediately. Or protect e5. b4, there's knight c4. Maybe the knight can crawl back to the centre later. I don't fancy playing d3 for the knight at the moment. So knight e5 and knight e5. Okay, there's no knight e5. I can go back to b1 now. Oh, hang on. Why don't I just play rook f6? Let's play rook f6 for a moment. Okay, can I get this knight? Oh, queen d5. Hang on, queen d5. I have to stop queen d5. Rook e4. As Laurel says, the hardy or the other way around, I don't know. Another fine mess you got me into. Another fine mess I've got myself into. Great. Oh, crikey. Okay. Okay. I get it. I'm getting smashed again. Okay. Knight d2. it's just okay. Don't know. Knight d2. Maybe I've got something here anyway. There's compensation, maybe. HG, there's compensation. Maybe there's compensation. Maybe there isn't. Yeah. No, clearly there's compensation, except I can't say that without laughing. That's the problem. Have I got compensation? Maybe. Oh dear. Yes. When saying that, it's okay. Anyway, knight d2, knight f3. Surely, okay, there might be compensation. There might be. Please let there be. Knight d2. Okay, I can play knight f3 here to hold g5 for a moment. Or bishop c1. Yes, the pieces are really working well together. Holding pawns. Okay. There is rook e6 now. Maybe rook e6. Rook g5. Knight g5. I think there's rook e... what about bishop c1? Try and actually hold g5 a bit further. Okay, I thought my position was bad for a while. Yeah, thanks. Maybe it's increasing here. I mean, maybe my prospects are better. Okay. Okay. Queen d6, huh? There, oh, that's annoying. Can I play queen c2 and rook e1? Oh, he's not careful. I'm wondering CD, it's sort of hitting the bishop. It's bishop f6 and bishop h7 maybe. Might not be that bad, this position. Might not be. If he has to have double pawns on over here, because CD and bishop f6, his queen's holding onto the bishop. Well, it depends. I mean, CD or bishop. I don't know. CD, he doesn't have to do anything with CD. There's bishop e5 here. Now maybe CD here, or bishop f6. Okay, maybe bishop f6 for CD. That gives me a pawn. There's knight e4 threatened now. Okay, the bishop's threatened. So bishop d6. Oh, there's also bishop h7. Hold on a sec. If I wanted it, bishop h7 or bishop a6, doesn't that? When a piece knows check. Okay, so bishop h7 might be handy later to pick out that pawn. Maybe bishop e4, because I'm running into knight b4 there otherwise. So knight b4, queen c5 now. I think something like... Okay, so just try and get the... well, there's bishop b5, knight c4. I'll try and get the rook doing something. As long as e4 isn't crumbling that easily. And then at h5. Maybe. Okay, so knight c4 here. Is there something like bishop g3? Is that scary? Bishop g3. In advance, I've handled bishop b5 check anyway. Bishop g3. Okay. Queen d2 for h6. Queen d2 is bishop f4 though. Right, I've got a problem with e4, haven't I? A problem with e4 and my rooks in general. h6, g6. I could try and unpin this guy. I think my back row is weak as well. I just realised this back row issue as well. So I'm not really sure. Okay. No. Okay. Bit stuck. Yeah, it looks like. Okay. King g1, knight e4, rook e4 is my back row is the problem. Can't really move anything. I can't move anything. I'm stuck. I could try rook e3. I don't believe this position anymore for me. Takes, and then bishop f5 is probably... As rook e8 maybe. Taking two rooks. Again, I'm probably getting mated after, so I don't believe this. That's just winning, isn't it? Where's the king e2? Hang on, it's king e2. Yeah, that looks pretty miserable. I don't think I believe this position. Okay, knight e3. Protect d2 for a moment. And that looks nasty. Queen h5. So queen d4 here. Maybe queen g4 is slightly better. Maybe. I mean, because I'm holding h5 with them, hitting the bishop. But I don't know if he's got any lethal checks immediately. This appears to be a rook up. Is he a rook up? Yeah, he's got 3 bits and I've only got 2. He's like a rook up. I've just realised that. Okay. Anyway, ignoring that. Okay. I'm just playing a rook down. Okay, that's cool. That's cool. But why is he giving this bishop? I don't get that. Okay, I'm not getting much about this game at all. I'm lost in this game. I'm getting mated. Oh, that's why. Okay, I think that's time to resign then. Okay, thanks. Thanks so much. Commutator. I think this is okay. Start position. D5 at some point. D5. Bit of a space advantage, I hope. Without too much. Hang on, there's probably I have to look out for rook b2 at some point. Like here. Rook b2 might be possible for knight d5. Yeah, actually. Why didn't I take with? Why didn't I consider taking with the knight? Hang on. Okay, if I took with the knight, I lose d5 anyway. there's taking us there, a knight d5, and he's winning the exchange back. I'm so tactically strong this morning. Okay. What I could have done, if I played bishop c4, there would still be knight b6 though. d5 would be weakened. Maybe this is the way to go. Okay, maybe this is the way to go. If he loses his dark square bishop, I'm hoping there's some compensation later. If he loses that dark square bishop, there might be some dark square weaknesses. So we look at this: rook b2, knight d5, queen c2, knight bishop a1, rook a1, with clearly some compensation on the dark squares. But I can't say that without laughing too much. Yeah, clearly I've got compensation there. Yeah. Okay, so I'm moving it out of the way because I'm thinking that is all suspect. I'm glad he didn't play that rook b2. Basically, that rook b2. Oh, crikey! Which means now I can get back to business with e4, e5 without. What's this? What's this? I'm having the same position as before without being material down. So his dark squares have been compromised. Doesn't this mean anything? So e4 and queen c3 check. So bishop c4 here. So d5 might be an issue. So d5 might be an issue. I'll give the bishop f1. So d5, ed, bishop f1, parking space. Okay, let's do this. So my rook's not tied down to protecting that. If I need that pawn, although I've weakened b5 square, weakened b5 square. Okay, so let's just go back to f1 here. D4, I think knight d4. So knight c2, huh? Okay, what about, okay, no, not this one, queen a5. This one, to address knight c2. d4, knight d4, maybe. Rook moves away, there's queen b4 potentially. So this pinned pawn. Okay. So knight d4 here. Knight f3, queen e3 maybe. Queen e3, queen h6. Or queen d2, queen h6. And then there's knight g5. That could be a good plan. Queen h6 and knight g5. I think we need to look at this rook b2 earlier. I think whatever happens, we should look at that rook b2 earlier. Alright, I'll take that, I think, and then swing the other knight across to g5. Queen g7. Now these pawns are a little bit dangerous. I could keep the queens on for a moment. Let's hit this rook. More central anyway. I'll hit the rook now. Time pressure. Okay, thanks for the game. Let's have a quick look though. I think you had rook b2. I think what I did was a bit naughty here. d5. This is right, I think. This is better for black already. I think d5 is the naughty move that just needs to be punished. Because it's giving that I have to take with the bishop here. It's basically given this one. Yeah, and it's giving, yeah, as I mentioned, it's giving this. Bang. It's a tactic to bear in mind. Really, if you're playing this black side, the tactical opportunities, you need to look at how sometimes tactically, although the opponent's got a space advantage, this is a major tactic. Bang. Knight d5. Win the exchange back. And I was joking about the compensation. I don't think there's any really running out of pieces. If I take here, how can I get to the dark squares that easily? It's only visually, it might theoretically be weak. This is just better for black. Carry on, it's just better for black. So that's a really important tactic here. Changes the whole valuation of the position. The problem is, if I take with a knight, then there's knight d5. That's going to be better for black. So if I have to take with the bishop, I've weakened d5, and I think the variation is going to show that. Knight b6, as I mentioned, because d5 is now, it's like undermining the roots of the pawn chain, so d5 is weaker. And what do I do? Okay, now actually there's a move here, e4, hold on, there's a move there. Apparently that's okay. Even so, it does give knight b6 as about equal. But this is just, I don't know, I was talking about it. It's real, it's on the board, rook b2. Okay, opportunity. Let's challenge Azul-Miss. Alright, so what's going on here? Do I get a chance to play b6 for bishop b7? Maybe I do. This could have been fixing, I mean potentially fixing used to think, oh maybe I'll just take it there. Alright, so b6 here for bishop b7, I hope. Or can I do arrows or something? Oh, no. So if I castle kingside here, I know it's a bit off-putting, but I think I should castle anyway. The queen's going to switch in for an attack. Fair enough. So without the b5 to try and undermine e4 with b4 later, so that's cool. I can just try and unpin with king h8 this pawn. I would say that's an idea, just to unpin for a moment. b6. Okay, I'll protect indirectly. Knight c6, bishop c6, protecting b6. I was expecting queen g3. Okay, let's play this in advance of any queen g3. This seems like the c4 square is a bit juicy here. Knight a5 to c4 seems as though it might be a bit juicy. But I take the brakes off e5, so that, you know, need to look at e5 maybe. Once I play that weakness of the last move, e5, because the knight's not protecting that. Let's see, de, fe, knight d7, bishop b7, b7. e5 might be weak there, might be. I kind of welcome that. I think there's going to be some vacuum problems, potentially, if the weaknesses aren't covered. So I'll go with this g5, knight d7. I'm going in for knight c4. Knight c4 is a nice treat because there's no b3 here because of that semi-open Sicilian c file. There's no b3 because of queen c3, so this pressure down the c file is a little bit evident. Okay, g6 is not possible at the moment. So can I just play knight c4? Sometimes this is a very dangerous plan. If a rook can go behind the queen to hit h7, it becomes very, very dangerous. I want to make sure that doesn't happen. Maybe there's provision for that with knight f8 later if the rook moves knight f8. Let's go with knight c4 here. Now d5 seems to be a rebellious type move that I like playing sometimes. It opens up the pieces. It's a pawn sack, but it opens up the pieces. However, it might be totally unsound. e5, there's knight f5. I think that rules that out, really. Also, as well as weakening d5. Ah, so I'm a bit stuck for a plan, actually. Try and check some more downsides, potentially, of the opponent's position. So in a longer game, I might spend like 15 minutes just wondering just philosophically about downsides. If it was a long over-the-board game, I could spend like half an hour here, easily, probably, on this next move. But I'm going to try and compress that down into the next 20 seconds, a decision in the next 20 seconds. You know what, I'm just going to do a gambit of this b pawn instead of the d pawn because it doesn't compromise light squares. I want to activate the b file. And I want to distract pieces away from my king. Alright, I think there's a problem with that move. There's a slight weakness in the last move here. I'm sorry, there is. Okay, that happens a lot in Blitz. Yeah, okay. Yeah, it was a good position, I think. Let's have a quick look. I'm sure you're better here. At least equal. I mean, I'm sure you're better here before that. Yeah, white's slightly better. Now this is a bit, actually, it doesn't say it's that dodgy. It doesn't kill the evaluation for black. In fact, it doesn't recommend white taking this. Although it does now. It's just sort of changed its mind. I thought I'd get a bit of play with this. Okay. Fenneman. Did I click the challenge properly? Oh no! I've just declined Fenneman. Oh. Is Fenneman around? Can Fenneman send them? Calling Fenneman. Please challenge again. I've just accidentally declined. Can Fenneman challenge again if he's around? I mean, I think a few years ago I wouldn't have been plunging into four. I was sort of carrying my blitz into my long games, but now I really do like exploring, you know, from a theoretical perspective, what the downsides of the opponent's position are. And sometimes it becomes almost like aesthetically pleasing to realise. I had a recent over the ball game, that is, there's light square weaknesses there, and I can actually combine and attack on both. And that is when you really feel the power of the long time limit. You can really get into the intricacies of what really can bring the down for the opponent's position. So I always wanted that contrast between blitz and my longer games, but you can't have it here. Is Fenneman not going to challenge? All right, he has. Okay, let's try and do this with the accept button as an innovation. Okay. So I should really try out some long games again, one-day games. But unfortunately, I mean, London Classic puts me off because it's like cold and December and Christmas timing. I need to get some other FIDE tournaments in, I think, at some point soon. It'll be nice to know, just to know, because my ECF has been stable this recent. I got like 207 performance in one of the leagues, and I won a game in the other. It was stable for my 200 plus ECF rating, so I was happy with my over the board this season. I just need to test. I haven't tested for all my one-day games. I'd like to do that at some point. So, but I think if you're going to do one-day games, if anyone's listening on this thing that wants to do one-day games, my advice, which you might not have heard before from anyone, is if you like blitz and bullet, it's very much. I think you've got to think that in blitz and bullet, you're almost just following single tick check boxes, like centralizing pieces, looking out for certain tactics. It's very single check boxes. In a longer time limit, I would spend a lot more time and realise the beauty of that, to spend a lot more time finding really long forcing variations, stuff like that, really deep weaknesses. The assassination time of the opponent going up means you can do a lot more in a long game. If you don't see that beauty, it's probably not worth going into a much longer time control and not spending the time. I think even Kasparov might mention that when he started, he used the full extent of the time control, and I wasn't quite sure what he was going on about at the time. But I think I'm starting to see it a little bit more, that especially in the one-day games, you can really get to grips with small, tiny intricacies of weaknesses in the opponent's position, and you take more and more time, you realise some other weaknesses, and before you know it, you're going to come up with a plan which is so effective and tailored to the position, but you'll never get that in a blitz or bullet game. And actually, if you're really, really good at blitz and bullet, you get a false sort of ego if you think, oh, I'm going to smash it now on longer games. But yeah, there's a real this idea of, I wouldn't say I'm drawn into perfectionism. I'm just drawn into the you can take like another 20 minutes, you see more downside. I'm drawn into that you can really find even greater weaknesses of the opponent's position the longer the time limit. But if you don't get that beauty and satisfaction from doing it, it's kind of not fun. If it's not fun, it's not worth doing. So but I haven't said that, I love bullet chess online and stuff, so but I think it's great to draw the lessons from the longer time limits and then play the faster time limits as well. I think my brother was saying like musicians do that. They practice things slowly and they can do things faster with greater accuracy eventually. In fact, I had 96 there, didn't I? I'm not paying attention that much. I had 96. Get back to this game. 96. I was just thinking B5 though is also dangerous. B5 is a little bit dangerous here. How many of you are doing one-day FIDE? Anyone doing one-day FIDE games? Anyone? Out of interest? Okay, I'm posing that question on the chat there. Okay, so knight takes and then... Okay, bishop takes and there's knight d4. Okay, bishop takes. Maybe knight c6 and cd. Knight c6, oh, there's d4. Alright, I think I really just want to open up the c file here. So cd and open up that c file for a moment. And establish an outpost, rook c6, and it's a bit stereotypical, but it means I can double and treble on that c file, I think. So queen c3, rook c1. There's an immediate rook b6 threatened with that pawn pinned. Rook b6. Let's see. Correspondence games to yeah. Shillingford, maybe you played some FIDE tournaments this year, I expect. Is that the case? Okay, so queen c6. It looks really dangerous. But yeah, I think any sort of form of chess, generally, I mean, the golden rule, thanks Fenneman, is if you're not having fun. I think someone once said at my uni, he said something sort of I've been thinking about ever since actually. It was like, if he said something like, if you're not if you're doing something and it's not fun, you might I don't think he categorically says you're doing it the wrong way, but it kind of implied you might be doing it the wrong way. That's true of a lot of things, maybe broaden IT. If it's not fun to do something, maybe you're doing it the wrong way. It's an interesting question to ask, I think. Because, I mean, life is a limited resource, so you don't want any form of chess which isn't enjoyable. I don't think should be like a torture. And if it is a torture, I think you've got to find out what the beauty of that format is. Otherwise, it is kind of a waste of time. I think, I don't know if you've seen Kasparov's preview video on trailer on chess videos, but he does say, he puts a statement in there, almost as if it's a background comment, like, time is precious. He says that in his trailer for his master course. Yeah. So yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that. I think so yeah, I think I used to okay I used to perhaps, as knight takes e4 here, queen takes e4, rook e8, knight e5. d6. It looks as though I might be able to exploit that lack of development, although this could backfire, but I'm going to give it a go here, actually. I'll give it a go. So 95 d6, I'm giving this a go. Hang on. There's bishop d3 threatening mate in that line. G6. Okay, interesting to analyze after. Queen f6, bishop f5. So bishop f5, rook e8. Bishop f5 and rook e8. Is that an idea? Bishop f5 or knight b4, queen d1. I think I could wait for cd, knight b4. There's queen c4. Knight b4 immediately. There's not too many choices for the queen. Queen d1, c6 gives me the perk of knight a6 and stabilizing d5. So maybe I should try this. I'll try this to be able to play c6 and then knight a6. So queen d1, c6, cd, knight c3 back on d5 torture. cd, knight d5 for knight e3 though. I don't think he wants to play cd here. Knight d5 for knight e3. Okay. Okay. You know, my pieces feel a bit pushed back. I feel d5 is still a liability. It would be a worse liability if I'd moved my f pawn. Okay, is it defendable? CD, knight c3, bishop e6. Shouldn't be a big deal. I've just used the parking space of the knight though. I'm wondering if bishop f... Okay, hang on. Bishop f5 or bishop e6? I think this is the worst piece in the position. Sometimes you just have to look at the worst piece as well for an easy plan to consider. It's kind of the worst piece. I could base a plan on a6. Let's say bishop f5. Okay, it's been prompted to do something about the knight anyway. Knight d7. Any c5 there, there's knight c5 because of that pin, probably. So knight d7, c5, knight c5. Knight d7. Let's say rook e8, knight f8. Okay, the d5 torture begins. Or rather carries on. I could take in it. The bishop is supporting e5 actually. It supports knight e5. But okay, let's say I play knight d7. I don't like to lose that outpost, that knight outpost on e4. So I'm wanting my cake and eating it here because the knight e4 is pretty. It's at the cost that I weakened d5 if the knight was on f6. d5 is very logical for white to attack. Okay, I have to make some sort of decision here. Okay, bishop e6. Bishop e6. Maybe then knight d7. You know what? If his bishop was protected, he would have taking and then d5, hitting my queen, striking at my weaknesses on this diagonal. Can I, instead of cd, cd or not to CD? But that is the question. Bishop takes d5 doesn't look very palatable. Let's go with it. At the moment, there's no d5, I think. It's on the way. Okay, I can keep that bishop blocked in by its own pawn here. Okay, I have strengthened his e5 control. That's the downside there. He's on my h7. I'll protect by moving it. I probably bishop b6 and rook c8. Probably. If I can get a pin there, try and loosen white's control of e5 a bit by pinning that bishop. I don't think he'll want the bishop pinned. So rook c8. Okay. Yeah. There still might be a rook c3 tactic lurking, because this is always tactically interesting, these diagonals. When the f-pawns are pushed, you look at the diagonals, the tactics, the implied tactics as well, not just the immediate, but implied, like rook c3, bishop d4. But the knight's doing a good job there in making sure that's not a tactical disaster just yet. g4, knight e5, rook e5, queen e5. So maybe it is a tactical disaster. Rook c3 and bishop d4. Because if rook c3, bishop d4, if queen c3, bishop d4, okay, I think I can just exchange off things. Okay, thanks. Yeah, you've got to be careful on these diagonals, because, as I say, there's loads of tactics usually on. Because we castle by default on the king side, so it's very, very common tactics when the f-pawn moves for the diagonal to be weakened. So you have to look at the tactics and the implied tactics. Any chunks out of the armour of the castled king, basically, or any pawn moves on the castled king. Like if you lost an h-pawn, you should look at h-file stuff. If you've lost or moved the f-pawn, the diagonal stuff. It's if you can, because that really is critical weaknesses around the castled king. So let's see, c5 here. Okay, so knight c5 and knight c6. Okay, so ed and rook e8. It's sort of Benoni-ish, I think. This, if I change this pawn structure, I think it's a little bit. Oh, let's move the screen back. Benoni-ish. Ed, it looks like a Benoni to me. Yeah. Or king's engine 4 pawns attack. If it was a king's engine 4 pawns attack, actually it's different. The c pawn's there, not there. So d5 might be a little bit weaker. It's having to be held by pieces rather than the pawn on c4. So that's a big difference. Is that something to celebrate? Knight d7 b6. Possibly. I could try it. I'll try it. Instead of... my normal plan would be to take on f3 and weaken dark squares, but because the pawn's there, I think the dark squares are a bit tighter than usual. Its d5 is a bit looser than usual, so I'm going to not play this plan, which would weaken dark squares, and give up the light square bishop on Terry. That's like almost like a mainline plan against the 4 pawns attack against the king's engine. So I'm going to go and override this with something which feels a little bit as though it could be more appropriate to hit d5 here. It's a little bit disconnected pawn. So knight b6, what would white do on knight d6? I play c4, right? It's fair enough. And this is a tactical, like there's knight d5 immediately here, knight d6. So knight d5 immediately, knight d6. I think that's plausible for white. What about queen b6? Again, it's plausible for c4. So yeah, I think that solves the problem. That solves the problem of the d5 pawn, it seems. I haven't got too much time to investigate this, so I'll accept it solves the problem, I think. Do I? Do I? I guess I do. I don't know. No. I'll try queen b. This doesn't look right. c4. Okay. Let's just get this position. I don't like my position now. No, white's just got a nice cemented space advantage without any structural problem now. Okay. That's just great. Okay. So rook e8. Yeah. Oh, g4. Well, I welcome that. I think I should welcome that. Bishop, I'm going to cause a distraction. Sometimes when there's potential vacuum opportunity, you could sometimes indirectly emphasize that vacuum by doing a pawn sack on the other side of the board. That has the effect sometimes. Okay, g5 and f6 though, I'm going to be squished if I'm not careful. Maybe I should take... It looks counterintuitive to do this in some respects, but I don't want to be squished with g5 and f6. Maybe king h8 and rook g8. h7 is more of a liability sometimes, probably. However, I'll try and use this g file. b5 is also still more on the cards now. If he had to move his king, especially to h1, then b5 is still relevant for that. So knight, I don't know if knight e5 is... Alright, queen h4 is going to be dangerous. I could be getting stuffed here. I could be. It's possible. Like the turkey at Christmas. So queen h4, knight g6, maybe. I don't want h7 to be such a major problem immediately. Although it is. So g5 is on the way. If g5 is on the way, I think I've caused a problem here, which maybe I didn't need to. And I'm going to lose on time as well. Oh, that's cool. I think my position's had it. Bishop g5, all that. This is not quite right, is it? Looking for a cheapo tactic. I think the best I can do is try to not get mated now. That's the best I can do, is try and avoid getting... If I can get the queens off, even if it's piece down, I'll still have a few more moves left. Yeah. I think the only thing is about this, trying to be positive about this, b5 for this diagonal could be something. So I'll try that. b5 for the diagonal. Trying to bust open this diagonal. That's the thing to aim for here, I think. Rook d8 and bishop d5. Okay, rook b3. Queen a8 after. Or rook d3 might be useful. Rook d3 or rook b2. I think rook d3. Oh, the queen h4. Queen h4 I should have considered, because he left h4. So I'm on e4 here. Try and distract. Bishop e5. Not yet. Oh, bishop g3, bishop f7. Oh, the pawn's dangerous, isn't it? Nope. Oh, sorry. Time win. I was totally smashed. Totally. What's happened today? I don't know what I've done. I don't know. Let's have a look. Totally smashed. Totally. I thought I was taking a controlled risk with that G file. Is this really that bad? I guess what I was worried about, white's better anyway. White's much better after f5. Technically white's much better after f5. I've got g5 and f6 on the way. What do I do? I can't allow g5 and f6, right? Can I? This looks like horrible. It's like I've got killed. Unless I sack... Oh, maybe this is the best way, just to sack. It's making its mind up. If I have this position, this isn't very promising. White is nearly like +2. I mean, this is something to avoid. So I tried to avoid this scenario. Hence, I came up with this wonderful g takes. But now it's nearly +3 because h7 is such a big issue. All he does, because I've fragmented the pawns, he does is build up on h7 as he did. I don't know what I do here. There's no move here. This is +3. Doesn't matter what I do, it's +3. I tried king h8, queen e1, queen h4 to follow with g5. It's winning for white. It's essentially winning. This is +6 now. +7 nearly. +8. This is +8. +18. Knight e4. We're talking knockout for h7. There's no move here. There's no move. So I think, okay, did I start to get let off or something? It's back to +6. +6, +11. I'm just, all I have to do, all I can think about doing is opening up the diagonal. Otherwise there's no point in having the bishop on b7. +6, still +6. Dropped evaluation a little bit here to +4. He's opening up this diagonal. That's the only active counter-attacking thing. I can only try and use this diagonal on this b file here. So that gives me the opportunity to use the b file to try and swing a rook into h3. Okay, I could have taken on b2 potentially as well. Now this loses the advantage totally, queen c1. It gives me queen h4, that weakness in the last move, but also it seems as though I'm equal after taking, and then queen h4. It hits e4, h3, and stuff. Let's see, there's e4. Apparently I'm back in the game. For the most part, back in the game, because I think there's chances now, like bishop e5 check. If he didn't say he did this, check, this starts to get dangerous now. Let's just follow this through to something. Rook takes g2. There's a dangerous counter attack on the way, which shouldn't have happened. I think all the counterplay started, actually, I would say all the counterplay started around about when the queen moved away from critical h4 square, because now I've got my bishop, I've got my rook, and I've got my queen coming in. So even though I'm material down, I think this is technically equal. It says, I don't know if you can see from the thing, it says it's technically equal here after taking, and then queen h4. So I should take on e4 here. I didn't. So again, white's fine. Yeah, that was the mechanism of taking on e4 just to get this double attack here is important. Sorry, not here, not here. Here, bishop takes e4. Here, queen h4, double attacking e4 and h3, and then opening up this bishop for bishop e5. I can get some counterplay there, believe it or not. But yeah, let's see. So this is still back in the white's driving seat. So again, I'm trying to use the b file and switch a rook in. I'm looking out for e4 to open up this bishop on this diagonal. So opening up the bishop potentially on this diagonal. But again, I'm back to just being busted here now, I think, for the most part. Except here, this is a mistake apparently. Check. I think the king's in a dangerous spot. This is okay for me. e2. And that's good. I can just take on f. That's nasty. So there was a mistake here with this. Apparently knight e4. So that the bishop's holding e4. So this e2 is harmless. That would be harmless. So this was a mistake. Knight f3. So check. And I think I start blundering now. There's bishop g3 with a mate in 8, apparently. Check. King comes out. I was almost thinking e2 is horrible. It's horrible for white. But no, I didn't do that, did I? I played this, and I'm back to white winning. I should have played the check to keep the two bishops, because now that king's there, the two bishops and the rook, it should be pretty dangerous, this position, and that pawn is an overload. So I blundered here, allowing the bishop to be coming off, and white's back to winning without a problem again. So that was a very dramatic game. I think I tried to create some counterplay, but what was intriguing, I really thought g4 was a bit airy, but it's not. I don't think it was. I think g4, when it was played, is actually a really, really good move. This g4 here is liked here as one of the top choices. That's really cool. I think because what's happened is white's actually secured the center and secured b5, so it's been wrapped up. There's a free hand on the king side. That's beautiful. It's white's slightly better there after g4. There's nothing you can say intuitively against that, really. I mean you can intuitively. All you can say intuitively is you want to try and later open up this diagonal or use the b file. But yeah, it was on the brink. Okay, anyway, I hope you got something from this week. I probably did more detailed post-mortems than usual. Tell me, did you enjoy the more detailed post-mortems? I don't know if I should spend more time or 10 not. 1 if you did, 10 if you not. I'm curious. I think I might have got carried away in post-mortems today. Sorry, maybe a bit of variety. variety for this session. Did you like these postmortems? Because I think you can get more to the truth of it with the computers. You can get more to the truth of positions, But G4 to me, and just intuitively, I thought it might be a bit shaky. But it's not. It seems to be pretty solid. Okay, so yeah, I don't want to go overboard with the postmortems. Okay, that's cool. So most of you cool with it. It seems that's won most of you so far on this quick poll. Okay, I hope you enjoyed this whole session, and yeah, okay, that was good. I enjoyed it as well. So thanks, and have a good weekend, and see you next week. Okay, thanks so much. Cheers then.